Hey everybody, how we doing? We're gonna get some folks a little time to come through, and we're gonna get started here with the Realness and Reality Facebook Live hour. It might go 2 hours. We're gonna go with an hour. And our topic tonight is discrimination, differences, and struggles faced by the LGBTQIA and cisgender employee. Something we need to touch on. Let's get to talking tonight. And those of you that want to contribute, feel free to send a request and we'll get you in to be heard and all that good stuff. Welcome aboard, everybody. Welcome aboard. How's everybody doing this evening? I kind of like that music in the morning, and it kind of gets the day going, and everybody can have a discussion. We can get to talking about what we need to talk about tonight. So tonight is a topic that myself and Miss B were talking about. Miss Jaquilla, we're waiting for her to come through. She may not make it tonight. She has education. She's getting educated so she can be self-employed or be employed at a better location. So, a better employer. So I'm an entrepreneur and I'm also retired, so I don't have to deal with the employment issues. But, you know, we are dealing with a lot of issues today, and we really have to say, you know, people are blaming it on our administration, but sometimes we have to blame it on what we allowed to administrate within our communities. Can you all hear me okay? If you can't, let me know to speak up, because I'm good for speaking low and you can't hear me. But tonight is a topic that we need to talk about. Tuesday, if you missed, we talked about how, you know, we are basically oppressed by the actions of the government and why we are going through what we're going through. And, you know, we relaxed last night with the sex tea talk, which was fun. But tonight, let's talk about community. Let's talk about, you know, what we're going through as a community and what we as a community need to do to change and go forward. Now, remember, our shows are here to empower, to encourage, and also to allow us to grow. You know, we began as an LGBT community. Now we are LGBTQIA community, and we're still bunched up in letters and alphabets and acronyms. But the thing is that we're becoming separated because people are pulling us separately. They're pulling us apart piece by piece. And, you know, I think a lot of it is because we are becoming disconnected by society's norms and still being stuck with what society is saying and concerned about surviving within society because of what society says. But we as a community, we're under one big umbrella called the rainbow. We might be trans, we might be under the leather community, under the bear community, lesbian community, gay community. I mean, there's so many communities, so many entities under that one big umbrella. And a lot of people don't understand that the rainbow colors don't signify race. They're more about our morale level, our standards. And one of it is integrity. And a lot of us have lost that within our community. You know, we go out here in this world to make it, because to work is an important thing to do. To have employment across the board, everyone across the LGBTQIA community, we need employment. You know, we all are at disadvantages in life for many reasons that many fail to acknowledge. You know, they fail to acknowledge that even, you know, being gay and being lesbian, there's some disadvantages. Some gay and lesbian individuals are out there struggling as well as trans individuals, as well as QIIAR and all of them. We're all struggling, and employment is the first priority for all of us. Now, I'm asking everyone right now, please hit your share button. Please hit your share button. Please, please, please hit all the share that you can hit. Get folks to come in and take part. This is a topic called discrimination, differences, and struggles faced by the LGBTQIA and the rest of them, and cisgendered employee. Now, for those of you trying to understand what cisgendered is, that's someone that is very comfortable being born the gender that they were born without even wanting to change their gender. They're comfortable living the way they live, living how comfortable they are living. being a man or a woman, they are very comfortable. They don't want to change. So I want you all to understand when we say cisgender a lot tonight, that will be it. When you hear transgendered, that's a person that many of you know. I am a trans man. I have transformed, transitioned, changed my gender. Okay, when you might say somebody say transsexual, they have changed their sexual. Yeah, that. So you might hear that. You might hear non-binary tonight. Those are those that do not live within the binary of being male or female. So you'll hear different terms tonight, but please understand, please be respectful as you learn. Tonight is a learning process. So I'll start off with this discrimination thing. First off, I can tell you right now that I deal with discrimination as a man of color, and I dealt with it when I was in female body. When I say female body, it's before my transition. I dealt with it because of color. Now I'm dealing it because I'm a man of color. But then, should they find out I'm transition, I may come across that issue again without even knowing that I have to deal with it. So there are many that face discrimination and struggles. My struggle was finding employment that was beneficial to me as a person, an employer that was willing to work with me in my transition. And I chose a field of employment within security because I blended in with loss prevention and civil protection. So I blended in with that very well. So for me, that is something that worked for myself. But that might not work for everyone. Some of us work in the service field because we can kind of navigate through that as well. And some of us have to become self-employed because we can't find the employment. And it becomes a struggle. I just wish that people would understand that this is something that we deal with every day. This is something that we deal with as a community, as a whole. The problem with our trans individuals not getting the employment is a lot of us have come in a situation of, I'm going to put this out there. People say, well, the transgender community can work too. It's like you can get a job. Well, look at me. There's some people that are not able to transition or don't want to go through the medical transition, the surgical transition. And I evolved looking the way I do. So with me evolving the way I look, very gentlemanlike, I just happen to be fortunate. There's some that in the beginning of their transition that they are not fortunate enough. So when they walk into a business, some businesses have this idea of what they want, who they want to represent them when people walk in the door. And it's a sad thing that they do that, but they do. And no matter what your qualifications are, they still do that. So it's kind of very frustrating for many of us in our community, even someone who's a lesbian who might look very butch or very aggressive. She might be judged based on her wardrobe. And they might tell her, well, you got to tone it down. Wear a polo shirt and a pair of khaki pants. You can't wear those sneakers. It's amazing how employers maneuver their success around what the appearance of their employee looks like. It's kind of messy. But when we're talking about discrimination and the struggles and the differences of discrimination that we face, it's really, really frustrating in our community to face them. Because I know I didn't have a problem until, I began to transition. My paperwork, my documentation for a long time was female for many years before I transitioned. And as I began to transition, I knew that I had to change my documentation. I worked for a security company, and I worked for them before my name changed, before my gender changed, before my transition. And then I still looked like a boy, so it didn't matter, or a man back then, so it didn't matter. But when I came back to work for the company, my social security number came up and two names came up, and it was a question. And they asked me, they said, did you have an alias? No, I didn't have an alias, I told them. And then I did, for a long time, carry my legal documentation of name change. I said I did a name change. Well, you all understand that they're looking at a dude, and they were all excited to hire me with my qualifications. And I didn't put them on any paperwork because it was 5 years past. And my qualifications called me to be a supervisor. When my social security number came up with the gender marker, it had not been changed. No, that's right. The gender marker had not been changed. And my dead name popped up as well. It was a question of what is going on. And you know, when you're in an office and you're waiting and doing your paperwork, you hear people talking. And someone made a comment. Oh, it's one of those. She must be a cross-dresser. Now, mind you, this is before, oh God, this was way back in 2001. And the word was she. And when they came to me, they said, did you work for us? I said, yes, I did, my past. And I had to really out myself to let them know and ask them, would there be a problem hiring me because I am transgender? What is that? You're gay? So I had to sit with the supervisor and talk to them. And they said, okay, well, we really want to give you this supervisor position, but at this present time, because of your condition. And I said, what condition? Well, you're doing what you're doing. We just think that it would be a conflict for our contractor, but we have another position for you. Well, at the time, I didn't know any laws. I really didn't. I was, moving and shaking the way I need to do. I was concentrating on getting my medicine, getting my doctors, keeping everything on float. And at that time, I was like, what the hell? Well, when I got the job, they put me at a job site, and come turn around, it came back to me from someone else and came and said to me, I would like to talk to you privately. And I said, sure. And I wasn't a supervisor. I was a regular security guard. And they said, hearsay is that you used to be a woman. Now, mind you, HR should not be putting my business at a job site. And I was like, no, I'm a man. Oh, because somebody told somebody in the office, told someone here that you were a woman. No, I'm a man. I made it clear, I'm a man. And this is my legal name. Oh, okay, because I don't want you to have any conflict, is what they said. I said, okay. Then somebody that was the contractor on site came up to me and said, I need to ask you a question. And I said, sure. Now I'm doing my rounds. Is it true that you used to be a woman? Well, that was into that. I contacted my attorney because I was pissed off. Contacted my attorney, and we were about to take legal action. Do you know they asked me to take some time off? They called themselves laying me off. I kept calling to come back to work, and they said, well, at this present time, we are not able to find any site for you to work at, so we're just going to lay you off. Well, I'm going to tell y'all a story. We sued the motherfuckers for discrimination. And ever since then, they offered me a job, a supervisory job. It was a shitty job. They offered me a good pay, but a shitty job in hopes to shut me up. And I refused it. I refused it because the way they handled that situation was very, very disrespectful. And a lot of, you're talking about 99, 2000, a lot of people didn't know how to handle um, transgender individuals. They really didn't know how to speak or handle HR. Didn't really know, and I'm in the South, so they really didn't know. They didn't know, and even your LGBT didn't know. Your LGBT transgender community didn't know at the time. But that form of discrimination can really be detrimental to someone like myself who may have never been strong enough to handle that. Um, that can cause someone to go home and have self chaos, commit suicide, become an alcoholic, start doing drugs. I mean, it could cause devastation and crisis in someone's life. And for many of us in the LGBTQIA, those in the cisgender community, mainstream, do not understand the devastation that can cause. It can become a struggle because we are living our lives daily, paying our bills daily. We don't have families to go to. Our friends are struggling just as much as we are. So how is it that we can rely on others who are struggling like we are? We can't. We can get the support, but it's hard to get the really assistance. We end up sleeping on our friends' couches, and after a while, we're overdoing our time because they've got the bills to pay. So we, as a community, we have been fighting for our rights, for employment. We are doing a lot of work towards change, and being in a fire at will state here in the South, it makes it harder for us to be who we are because now we have to face a lot more negativity. So I'm just going to say this to many of you that are watching. Please hit your share button. Please hit the share button. Please, I ask you to hit your share button because this is a topic that we would like to discuss. I want people to come on and discuss any experiences that they've had as well regarding discrimination and the differences and struggles faced by the LGBTQIA community as well as and the cisgender employee. Because this is something we need to discuss. I really want us to really discuss this because people are not understanding. When people hear equal rights, people find out that they got their marriage rights, and now they're getting is the one community that's being affected by that is predominantly the transgender community now, because our fellow community members of the LGBTQIA that are what I call living by face value of what cisgender community sees as normal or okay, it is not okay. It's not okay. So, folks, feel free to share this with your family, friends. Let's give awareness. Let's give truth to what is really going on because we really need to take it there. Is there anybody that wants to chime in with questions, wants to chime in with concerns, wants to chime in and speak with a good until someone else wants to come in behind them. If there's anyone wants to chime in, please hit invite me button and I will invite you because we want to share the differences and the struggles that are faced by the LGBT community and cisgender employee because a lot of us are self-employed because of the differences and the struggles. A lot of us are going through it right now. A lot of us are going through it right now. A lot of us are going through it here in the South as well as we're going through it in other states. But it's harder in the southern states because we don't have employee protection. We don't have those laws that really protect us. And people say, well, why don't you leave the South? No, because I like it here. And I learned to maneuver it to be comfortable. It doesn't bother me to be where I am. What I want to do is work towards changing where I am. And the fight in North Carolina and other states, we're fighting. And the changes are coming slowly. But I like it here. My cost of living is cheaper. I love the residence I'm in. It's cheaper. I'm not struggling as much as I would if I was in New Jersey. Um, a lot of people are migrating here to the South, which is changing a lot. So realistically, I'm fine. But there's some things that we have to change here because the way the states have been conditioned, where they've been organized, the way politicians have kept communities oppressed to be advantage for their own pockets or their wealthy pockets. It's okay though. I'm comfortable. I'm eating. I eat well. You know, I'm in the gym, so I eat well. But there's a lot of change to come, and that change will come. It's just up to us as a community to make that change. So, those of you that want to share your discrimination or share your struggles or differences that you are facing as an employee, feel free to chime in. Let's share this here to allow us to be empowered, to grow, to learn, to be aware, and allow us to be who we are under the rainbow umbrella. Remember, this is the Realness and Reality live feed that we do here on Facebook. And we want you all to get familiar with faces that are on the show, on our blog talk show. So one of the faces. Miss B should be here soon. If not, someone else will chime in. Um, I will say this. It's not fair that we go through what we go through as individuals in our community. It's not fair. Because what we're facing is sad. I think we have some issues here, so I'm readjusting a few things. I think our signal went a little slow on us, but we'll be okay. Um, I know it's dropping here and there, so if there's anybody that wants to chime in and talk about discrimination and differences and struggles faced by the LGBTQIA ancestry employee, please feel free to let us know you want to chime in because there are differences that we are dealing with. There are a lot. So hang on. So we're gonna have Zion come on. Zion, remember, we're gonna be on here for a little bit. We're gonna give other people space. Hi Zion, how are we doing?
Hey, how are you, Flex?
I'm great. We're gonna now. I want you to remember that there are going to be other people that want to speak as well from experiences. So we want to give them that space
Right.
tonight. Tonight our topic with realness and reality. Facebook Live, so people can get familiar with the faces and the people that do come on to the radio station on a regular. We're going to give them. Our crew is going to give them that space. But tonight's topic is discrimination in the workplace. The differences and struggles faced by the LGBTQIA
Okay. I've own community as well. Because our own community seems to be the LGBT community seems to be transphobic and homophobic as well. And what I mean by that is that the LGB is like transphobic against the trans, and then the trans people are the trans men are like homophobic against the gay trans man, you know?
Now, is this Are you talking about at the workplace?
Um, I'm talking about in general, but
Okay.
in the workplace, I have been discriminated against. Um, and it seems like my opinion is like not as popular as somebody else's, and
Could,
they'll go with somebody else's opinion before they will mine sometimes.
could that be because you are trans or because they're uncomfortable with you as a person?
I think it's because I'm trans, because where I live, um, there's it there's not much visibility.
Okay. So
You
they're
know what I
uncomfortable
mean?
with
I
you.
mean, I live in Billings, Montana, so I mean, you know, um, the population is 135,000, and
Right.
so there, I mean, there's not very many trans people here.
Right. So you believe that a lot of it is based on their being uncomfortable with you as a trans person.
Right.
So what are some of the examples of differences that you faced and the struggles you faced as an individual working in a workplace?
Um, like for instance, the thing is like, um, I'm a professional, as you know, and
Right.
um, I work in the judicial system, and
Right.
sometimes my I'm a supervisor, of the counseling and substance abuse department where I work at, and um, sometimes the administration will um take my other counselors' opinions
Right.
more seriously than they will mine sometimes. I'm not
Okay.
saying all the time. I'm just saying in some certain,
Yeah.
you know,
So when you have issues on the job, do you take it to HR and let them know these issues? Do they act upon them or do they ignore them?
what?
When you have issues with your employer, do you take it to HR or do they ignore your complaints?
Um, they, I take it to HR.
Okay. Okay.
I take
Okay.
it to HR. The last one I took to HR because, I was ignoring it, but then I caught on to what was going on, you know, and so,
I'm listening.
so after I caught on to what was going on, I went to HR.
Okay.
And
And how
the
did they?
next step is going to be my attorney if I need to be.
And how did they react to your complaint? That was my question. How did they? My concern. How did they react to your complaint?
The HR said that they would look into it and that they
Okay.
would try to see resolve the issue if they possibly could.
Okay.
Um, but I haven't heard anything about it.
Right. And I think sometimes they kind of sweep the rug if we get quiet. Because I know my situation way back in, I'm going to be honest with you, y'all, it was probably 98, 2000, 1998, 2000, the beginning of 2000. When I made it clear, I'm not comfortable with my business being told at a job site that should have stayed at HR. They were like, well, we're sorry. We don't know how it got there. You know how you got it there. Because whatever was given to HR should have never gone to a job site that's like a good hour away. Those people don't need to know my business. So, I made it clear, that to my supervisor, the gentleman that hired me, the reason I'm telling you is for my safety. If something happens to me, you would know how to handle that discreetly. And he and I had a discussion about it.
I can't hear you.
Yeah, your phone is there's a lot of static coming out of your way. So I made sure to let them know that this is not right. But I went to the point of taking legal action. And yeah, I fought it. I fought it. My attorney was getting a kick out of it. We did win some funds for that, and yes, I gave funds to family members that took care of me during the process. I mean, I had to pay people back for the whole process, because I wasn't working. I had to stop working. I'm gonna let you go because there's some static from your end. I don't know what's coming on there. Okay.
Okay, Flex. Thanks for
Thank
having me
you.
on, buddy.
Right. Stay in touch. Please share it.
All right, thank you.
Okay, that was Zion. He was telling about example. He was having some issues where he was located, and he's located way, way in another state, not in North Carolina, but he was dealing with some issues, and I know some of the issues he's been dealing with, and it's just really sad that we got these issues going on. All right, we're gonna let Rachel Jackson. Rachel wants to come on board. Let's see if Rachel.
Hello.
Hello, Rachel.
Hi, how are you, Flex?
I'm doing great. So, you know what our topic is today? It's discrimination in the workplace, difference and struggles faced by the LGBTQIA and cisgendered employees. So, can you share that with us? Some of your experiences?
So I may not could talk about the workplace exactly, but I have been discriminated in college, and that's like a workplace. So
Right.
the first time I was discriminated in college, there's two stories. When I identified as a gay male, I was in the Christian club, and on campus, all clubs are for students that are on campus, right? And this
Right.
club was and I had to talk with the president because I said I want to become president of this club to bridge the gap between the Christians and the LGBT community, because I feel like there's a gap where LGBT people feel like God doesn't love them or there's no room for them in that space. She told me, what would
Right.
it look like for a gay person to be president of a club? It will look bad. I said, actually, honey, it will look very good because I'm popular. So I would get people to come. You get what I'm saying? My energy would have got people to come and actually be a part.
Right.
The second time I was discriminated against when I started to transition, I had a conversation with one of the teachers, and one of the teachers felt like they could say what they wanted to me and said, oh, well, I know that you identify as a woman, but this is wrong, and blah, 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 blah. Like, I understand your religion, but that wasn't your place. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That wasn't her place to speak about her
Right.
religious beliefs or ideologies in the classroom or how she felt. So I was discriminated in college twice. Now, the first time I reported it to the school. The first time I reported it to the school. The second time I paid the lady because I said, you know what? I'm just going to leave the school. I'm going to work on my transition, come back, and be kind. That's it. And just blow them away. You know what I'm saying? That was it.
Right. So let me ask you a question. With all that discrimination, was there a struggle for you to deal with it and the struggle with it? And what kind of struggle did you face with that?
Because the struggle was like being in college and transitioning in college, and I could talk about that from a very, I had to deal with correcting people all the time with pronouns because my college, Essex County College in North, is very old fashioned and very, I don't know what it was built on, what religion it was built on, but it's very old fashioned and traditional. And it's like, when it comes to people of trans experience, I could tell the college is not used to it. They're just getting used to LGBT people, lesbians, well, really the the LGB people, but
Oh, yeah,
they're
yeah,
not used to seeing trans people who are successful or are, different things like that. So when they see that, it's kind of like, oh, well, you came here as such and such, and now you're such and such, and you're telling me to adjust. Yes, that's what I'm
right.
telling you. So it was very hard because I had to leave my education in order to follow my transition and instead of being able to feel comfortable in my school, in my education, and able to transition comfortably. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I got it. I got it. I really do
Yeah.
understand that because I was lucky. I went back to college um, when transition became people slowly started absorbing the idea of what being transgender was about. When children started evolving out the womb, becoming transgender, the things started changing, and so um, the thing is that we I have a problem when I went back to college. I don't hang on for a second.
Mm.
I told them, folks, please, I'm going to say this first. Please do not call my phone. Do not send me texts. Please restrain. If you need me, send a message another way to me. I'm on live. So please, you're disturbing the live. Stand by, everybody. Just wanted everybody to understand. I said it earlier. Please do not contact me here at this time during my live. Please. I appreciate it. What has happened was that when I went back to college, well, because I'm an advocate in my area, everybody knows Flex that knows Flex. When I went back, they were excited. They wanted me to be the president of the LGBT organization that was dormant for 4 years, and I did that. And the following years, after I left the community college, they have always welcomed me back and have encouraged me to be there for the students that are now there and active. So, I didn't have that problem. But I think that's because I
No.
got comfortable with transition and I knew that by face value, I wouldn't have this problem. But when you're younger and you're beginning, and also times are changing slowly, but let me say this. Society is very much about face value. What they've been conditioned to believe what looks male and female. They've been very conditioned. So when you go to a college or you go to a job and you step outside of your home, period, if you do not look like what society has this image of what is supposed to be by way of the way they've been conditioned, you will be shunned. You will be pushed aside
Well, now
like
it
you
wasn't.
were.
It wasn't that I wasn't passable. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
It's not
It
that.
wasn't that. It
It's
wasn't.
different.
It was idea. Like passability's never been an issue for me, and even in college now, it's
Right.
not an issue for me. But the issue was the fact that they just felt like they could step because my name wasn't changed,
Right. That's where I'm coming with
and
that.
my
The thing with that we did, yeah, the
that made
deal,
the difference.
yeah, that makes it worse. When we don't have our documentation in line, it causes confusion, complication, and just what people
And
are holding
headaches.
through confusion. Yeah. So now what they don't understand, they're confused. They give you that crooked eye, like, well, wait a minute, this is Lucy, but your name is say Joe. But you look like Lucy. Wait a minute, but your name is Joe. It confuses. So they don't know what to do. This is why I say to all of my community, period, that's in the transgender community, before you even put the word I am transgender, put a name change in action. Put your name change in action. Because
That's right.
honestly, when Flex started transitioning, there was no problem knowing who Flex was. They knew who Flex was. They knew the name with the face. But like I said, when I was employed by a security company who's no longer in business anymore, I don't know if it's because of me, but they actually pulled up my old records when I worked with them years ago. And my old records, because your Social Security, and this is why I educate people, your Social Security is you, but it never changes your past. I don't care how much of a name change you do. If you don't change your gender marker, that old name will pop up and will always pop up. They keep that on record. For the FBI and the CIA, they keep it on record. So if you work somewhere and your Social Security pops up, it's going to always pop up with the dead name. It will pop up with a dead name. And your new name is you, what you changed. So that's where you may have a conflict.
But I never.
And that's where my conflict came from.
Right. So I changed my Social Security gender marker and everything. Like I did all the research with that. I did that in January. So all of that is changed. It's just that, you know, when it comes to when they do look at my records, now they see Rochelle. You know what I'm saying? Even in medical companies that I'm dealing with, because me and my aunt just had an argument because she got mad because she works for me, like she's my personal aide. And so basically she got mad with me because the company pulled up Rochelle. I said, well, my name been changed since January and it affected her money. You get what I'm saying? Because I told my aunt, I said, this is a legal thing. So you playing with legal things. It's not about what you prefer to call me because you don't like my transition. What's legal is legal.
Right. And that's where, when we're working, I love the fact that we're evolving now. But back in the day, they didn't know what the word evolving was. You know, people weren't ready for change so fast. But because we're evolving, a lot of employees, a lot of employers, medical fields, colleges, they are doing what they call diversity training. They're doing diversity training. Right. I'm involved with that. And I'm glad we're doing that now because, you know, for people now stepping into employment and other occasions, it's making it easier for them. It's not 100% easier, but it's less complicated. I know I worked for a company that hires many LGBTQIA individuals under the rainbow umbrella. And believe me and you, the discrimination clause they have for their employees is serious. They do not play. One company, American Express, was one of them. American Express was helping people get surgeries, medical insurance, all that stuff. When they came to North Carolina, everybody was on the bandwagon. Everybody was on their bandwagon. You know, what'd you say?
But yeah, you're right. It's about really, and I would tell people this that are starting out with their transition, like just make sure that you understand that discrimination will come, no matter how real you are and not how, because people, once you say that you're trans, it opens up a mind, like this whole idea of who you are altogether as a person, the negative way, you know, the negative thing. But be very careful that I've been, you know, and I'm going back to school in the summer. I'm paying for my classes. I'm going back to school in the summer and in the fall. So I'm not worried about, because, you know, I handle things now legally. So if you try me legally and you try to disrespect me and you're going to go down.
Right. And that's the thing I like about, sorry, y'all, I'm here trying to get some water. That's the thing I like about now. We have representation. We have plenty of legal representation because what we went through, it was very detrimental to many of us. I mean, I know me many a times when I didn't have work, I was about to commit suicide because I was like, what am I going to do? People don't understand that the little thing that's taken for granted these days, some of us can't take for granted. We need it. It's a need. It is a deep need. Education is a need. You know, when we go to schools, colleges, even our trans people, even our even our whole, let's say our whole community, the whole rainbow community goes to school every day. Our kids to this day, adults, kids, all the way up to seniors are harassed. I know seniors that are actually in senior citizen housing that have been placed out of senior citizen housing because they were LGBTQIA. Ooh, you huffed and puffed on that one.
Yeah, I had the puff on that. I said that's vicious to me. That just thinking about that is so
Yeah,
vicious. Like,
yeah,
how can you be vicious because you don't personally like something? And it's so many levels of discrimination. Like, we get discriminated by our families. Like, I know sometimes I get misgendered by my family and I don't like it. And sometimes
right,
I pay it and sometimes I don't, depending on my mood
right,
and the moon I taken. So it just
right,
it just depends on the moon. Because sometimes it bothers me because if you see the truth that I'm showing you and you refuse to see it,
right,
just like with my aunt, with the name change situation, she didn't want to believe that it was going to come up. I said it's going to come up and it's going to affect your money. And I
right,
kept telling them that this is change. I kept showing them the paperwork and I said they need to get on board. And then because they didn't get on board, who did it affect? My aunt. It didn't affect me.
right,
My name is changed. So
right.
that it's just a lot of different things. And I plan on helping the community as well when I go back to school, but I'm really focusing on education now so that I can be a better
Right.
asset to
The
community and
community.
to myself and to those in my
Right.
family, like a better because I
Right.
have all these qualifications, but just having some qualifications doesn't, people want to see that degree, that piece of paper. I'm not saying that that
Right.
educates you all the time, but it makes you hireable, it makes you workable, it gives you some type of
Right.
credit behind it.
Well, the thing is too, and I say this to all of our LGBT that are watching right now, that when you go back to school, you can assist your community, even if like me. I went back to school and I finally took what I've learned and what I've been doing over the years and put it in an organization and brought others on board that have the credentials that couldn't find employment, or they just said, you know what, Flex, I want to do more with what I have because I can't do it here. I'm only stuck on this job to pay my bill, but I want to be able to do what I really like to do. Can I come on board? So that's what we've done with Fifth Avenue Alliance, was bring people on board because they have the credentials and they want to extend and do what we need to do for our community as a whole. Because honestly, discrimination is always going to be visible as long as we speak about it.
Mm-hmm.
I tell people the more and more you talk about certain words, the more and more you put life to it. And I'm the kind of person, I don't like to talk about discrimination, racism, and people say, why? Because the more you speak about something, the more you put breath into something, the more you allow it to live. It's like a fungus. It's like a fungus. And it's present, we know it's present, but the more and more you breathe on it, it's like algae and fungus. It absorbs air, it grows. It grows.
I try to show them a different light of who trans women are. And I know that it
Right,
sounds, it's not really so much of, like, there's certain places that I'm invited to, and certain circles that I'm invited into with cisgender women where I can shed light on who I am as a trans woman. And that's a gift, that's a gift. That's a
right,
gift. And
right,
so being able to do that, you're able to better help the community. We got hyper masculinity out here, and the men are crazy, but you got to put them in their place. Sometimes you have to
right,
really put them in their
right,
place. Sometimes and really tell them
right,
like, chill out. You know what I'm saying? Because at the
right,
end of the day, you're gonna get
right,
arrested if you try. And just like you mess with a cisgender woman, it's gonna be the same for a trans woman.
right,
So
right.
But thank you for having me, Flex. You're awesome. You're amazing. It's great meeting you. So thank you so much.
Yes, and please come in on Tuesdays at 9:30 on our Blog Talk radio that we do.
Mm.
And Wednesday we have a sex tea talk. We had fun last night. Oh God, the girls talked about all kinds of stuff.
Okay.
But please stay in touch with us and communicate with me more. And let's really work together because I might have something for you and you might have something for me. I love you. Please. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. You heard it from her. Now, somebody else out there wants to talk. Michaela, do you want to talk for a minute? Because I know you want to. It's in your soul to say something. So if you want to share in this topic, please let me know. Tina says she wants to come on. She wants to be part of this conversation. She wants to share it on, Michaela. All right, Miss Michaela, here we go. Let's do it. Miss Michaela Soul. Yes. Hello, darling.
Hi, friend. How are you doing?
How are you doing?
I'm okay. I'm doing a little bit better today. How are you?
Well, I'm doing great. Now, you know what our topic is, right?
No, I missed what the topic is, but from what little bit I heard, something did touch
I love y'all because you all don't even read. Y'all just wait till I say it. Okay, so do you know this is the Realness and Reality Facebook Live Hour? We do this all the time on Thursdays. Our topic is discrimination, differences and struggles faced by the LGBTQIA and cisgender employee.
Okay.
Take it on. Go ahead.
The thing is, I think the thing which I'm starting to realize is that sometimes we try to fit into, we're squares and we're trying to fit into circle holes. Like a lot of the times, it's not that we can't find employment. It's just that our minds isn't opening up to what's truly out there. And I've been struggling to find employment my whole life. I've been working ins and odd jobs and doing this and doing that my whole life. But from what little bit I did hear from Rochelle, is that I think I'm looking in the wrong spaces. I think I'm doing the wrong things. That's why I'm not able to find a career, because I'm doing the wrong things, not into the spaces that I should look in. I should look into like spaces like public speaking and like social work and things like that. That's my passion in life. So I think it's in the wrong direction. I think one of the things that but discrimination is real, especially as a Black trans woman from the South, even from Florida. People don't think of Miami and Fort Lauderdale as the South, but it's still the South. And discrimination is real. It's hard to live your truth, to live comfortably when you're trans. Like sometimes, it's just very hard to find work. That's why a lot of girls that's one of the reasons why girls turn to escorting and to things like that, because it's just hard. It's hard every day to be rejected for just trying to be who you are. And, the sad part about it is you can have all the credentials in the world. If somebody don't say yes to you, then you're always, going to be not employed. Shoot, that's just the honest to God truth. Like, employment is somebody picking you over other people, and if people have hate in their heart, it's hard to get employment.
It is. And that's why, you and I have talked, and, I've extended some things to you because, I'll say it again, I'm putting a plug in. That's why Fifth Avenue is doing what it's doing. You're all the way in Florida. We may not have the contacts in Florida, but we know there's people in Florida. And if you say, well, look, I'm coming up there, because, we started here this year in North Carolina, the beginning of the year. And if you say, well, I want to come to the South, believe it or not, we have our connects here in the South, in North Carolina, South Carolina. A lot of our individuals in our area are now calling us and saying, hey, I need help. And we are actually extending what our organization does. We're putting people to work. We're helping people find employment. We're helping people get in those jobs, and even have housing and education.
let me say this, because the thing that people don't realize, especially when you're from a liberal state or a state that, you know, helps a lot in transition and living comfortably and, you know, things like that, you don't understand the mindset of, like, even though we live in America, we have to understand that each state is slightly different than the next. And those slight differences are not slight, they're major. Like, in Florida, I find Florida very gay friendly. They understand gay culture. You know, the gays have it
Right.
in Florida, but trans people, they don't understand it yet. Um, it's hard for a lot, especially black trans women. I'm a black trans woman, so that's my experience. But I know white trans women who have the exact same issues. Um, you know, there's a lot of Hispanic trans women who's trying to escape whatever horrible country they live in, coming to America, coming to Florida, because, you know, it's a Spanish speaking in Florida. So, you know, they're trying to live their truth. But it's hard to find they have the basic necessities of life unless you do certain things.
So let me ask you this.
Yes.
So, do you have the credentials to do security work? I mean, not security, I mean social work?
No, but I could do, like, I could go back to school. I would need, you know, to do other things to get, you know, for a while I was in jail. So when I was in jail, a lot of stuff has lapsed. So I have to get stuff in order to be able to do certain things. So I need to, you know, get.
So, for those that are listening right now, those of you all that are listening right now, we have Michaela right here trying to get to do better for herself, go to the next level. Michaela, whatever it is we can do from you from out of North Carolina with Fifth Avenue, we'll do that. We're trying to get the funding to help many people like yourself in the South to do what needs to be done so that you can go forward and don't have to deal with the stigma that you're dealing with now. And, you know, like you just said, you know what you're able to do and what you want to do. And if it means for you to go back to school, we'll help you get back to school to do that. Because for you to be comfortable and enjoy the work that you do, what you desire to do, with anybody out there listening, you need to enjoy the work that you do. And if it's what you enjoy to do, believe it or not, the BS that you deal with on another job, you may never face on the job that you enjoy to do, because the people will see that you enjoy your job and don't want to let you go. If they know you can do that job and you're good at it, they don't care, because you've proven to them that your gender, your sexuality is not the priority of who you are that makes you.
Exactly.
So we're going to talk. I'm going to have you call me. We're going to talk and work on getting some things established for you. Because the thing is, I'm 56, and for me to try to get work, the biggest thing with me is my age. And then when they find out that because you all know Flex Jones is my stage name, I'm just going to say it like that. But my legal name, you know, when they see me, they think they got Chico Honduras Ramirez coming through the door. And when they think he's Spanish and he speaks Spanish, and I walk in dark as hell, and yes, I'm Dominican, I have a Spanish name, but the thing is, when they can see me coming to the door, because I was promised employment many a times, because they thought, oh, he's going to come in, he's going to be bilingual, da-da-da-da. And when I walked in the door, they told me as soon as I got there, oh, hold on for a second. Went back to the office, wherever they came from, came back and said, I'm sorry. That position was filled yesterday.
Exactly.
But you talked to me you talked to me before you closed the office to come in and get this job. So you looked at my color on top of that. You didn't know I was trans, because I wasn't going to go there. But first you looked at my color. So, I mean, we deal with a lot of discriminations on many levels. But had they been hiring someone of color and then found I was trans, I'm quite sure they probably wouldn't give me the job. I had one security company, because I worked security for all my life. I had one security company tell me, I would love to. When I told him, I said, "Look, I'm gonna tell you now. I had signed the papers, everything, and then told him, I said, I need to let you know something, and I'm disclosing this to you for my health and wellness, so you're aware as well." When they found out I was trans, they said, "Well, you sure you're going to be able to handle this job? It's a very much stressful job." What's stressful? Well, you're older, but they try to use the old card, and you got to open up truck doors and stuff. I said, "Are you talking about my height or my age?" "Well, I said I wouldn't have a problem." And the guy said, he said, "You're a really little guy." I was like thinking to him, like, "No, you're trying to say I'm a little woman, but I'm not." So I think after getting to know that I could do the job, my transition, being who I was, had nothing to do with the ability to do my job. And sometimes we have to prove who we are versus how we identify.
Exactly. 100.
So,
It's
so anything else you want to say? Anything else you want to share?
Yes, and sometimes it helps if we take the steps to get our identities, legally to match who we are, gender name change and IDs and all this other good stuff that, needs to get done.
Well, to my siblings in the LGBTQIA community, this is my suggestion. If you're transitioning, I want to do your name change. Make sure that name change is done so that you can live comfortable without conflict. The worst thing to do is live uncomfortable within conflict. Because when I say that, people looking at you or looking at your paperwork or anything, they're already uncomfortable. So now they're going to make you uncomfortable.
Exactly. But that's all I wanted to say, sir. Thank you for having me on.
I thank you, and we'll be talking to you later.
Okay, no problem. Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
All right. Anybody else want to come on? Anybody else want to come on? I invite you. Anyone else want to come on? I invite you. Please raise your hand, wave to me, do something so I know you're ready to come on. I know that Miss B is somewhere in the shadows on stage waiting to come on. Anyone else would like to come on, join on, send a request. If not, we're going to have Miss J.B. come on. Miss Bowman will be here. Miss Bowman, are you ready? If so, please let me know. As you know, I'm sitting here eating a peanut butter cookie. They're good too, honey. I'm sorry. They're good. All right, so the topic tonight was here on Realness and Reality live TV, Lord Jesus, live Facebook Live, was discrimination. Discrimination, differences and struggles faced by the LGBTQIA and the cisgender employee. Okay, so anyone would like to come in and discuss their experiences, like to discuss the differences, like to share this, please share with your family and friends. Please feel free to come on and let's discuss that this evening. Do not be scared to come on board and have a conversation. Daniel, you made a comment about being black with a felon. Yeah, that's a big issue as well. That's a big issue because a felon can restrict you from having any opportunity. But there are employers out there through temp services, I know you hate the idea, that are hiring. They will hire. They're so yeah. Um, Anybody else would like to discuss the topic, get involved? Please share the topic. This is something for us to become empowered, to grow, and be aware of, and share it with each other. That is what Realness and Reality Talk Show, that is what we do on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. And here live on Facebook, that's what we'll be doing on Thursdays. Let's see who else wanted to invite themselves. Miss Wanda, did you want to come on board, or you want to be quiet and shy? You know, I'm always going to put you on there. Reese is here. Devin is here. Anybody else before we go any further? Tina said she wants to listen. Miss Bowman, are you still there? I think we lost you. I think I lost Miss Bowman. Let me see if I can get her back. Let's see if we can get her back. She's probably making sandwiches and eating at the same time. Let me say this to many of you. Don't be shy to speak on this live, because there's some things that you may say that may be assisting to someone else out there. Or you might know someone's experience and want to share their experience, or know a story that you might want to share. Sometimes the little that you don't share may be worth more than you believe. Just know that. All right, so you ready, Miss J? Let's get you on. Ladies and gentlemen, I bring to you my co-host, Miss Bowman, Miss J. Bowman. There she is. Come on there, Miss Lady. There she goes. She's coming in. Now it's taking forever. That long introduction. She said, I'm here. I approved you. You gonna accept it? Okay, while we're waiting for you to accept it, anyone else would like to speak on an experience or know of an experience, difference and struggles faced by the LGBTQIA and cisgender employee? Because there is a difference. Do y'all not understand what cisgendered is? Let's go. I'm going to say it like this. Mainstream society. There is a difference. We know when we go to work as trans folks, sometimes our own LGBT, y'all out us that are trans folks on the job. I mean, it's done. So let's really be real about it. And I'm going to be honest with LGBT, that's just a sexuality. So you're cisgendered. Okay? And you do that. That's the difference. Cisgendered can be lesbian, gay, bisexual. Okay? And many of you do that because you're so comfortable where you're at and your employer. And some of you are on the down low on the job, or you're quiet on the job. No one knows your sexuality on the job. Nobody knows your story. Maybe two people, and they're willing to keep it hush hush. But as soon as one of us walks in the door, somewhere along the line, you've outed us undercover. Undercover. I'm just saying, undercover. You all have done it. And it's very heartening to know that people that we thought was part of a umbrella rainbow will do that to us and treat us as they treat us. So I'm just saying, yeah, quick to out us. Quick. With no respect. We just go to work to pay our bills like we pay our bills. Are you afraid because of my credentials that I might take? I don't want your job. I need a job. If they tell me I had to shovel, excuse me, y'all, shit to keep my job, I do it because I need to pay for my meds. I got to pay for my surgeries. I got to pay for going to the gym every day. I got to make sure I get my vitals checked every 3 weeks, okay? Every 3 weeks. And yes, I'm on prep, so I got to stay on top of that too. Don't y'all understand? It costs more for me every day to wake up. This is a livelihood This is not just something I chose to do. Hey, cousin Mike, my cousin's on. I want my cousin to talk to me too. You know, this is something I do every day. This is not just like overnight, wake up, shake my head like a dog, take a shower, and go outside wet hair. This is every day. Miss J, you might have to turn your phone off and turn it back on because it's not connecting with us. So what I'm saying is, this is not something that I just woke up and there's no style, there's no lifestyle to me being transgender. It's a livelihood. There's a lot I have to do as an individual to be who I am every day, to live every day. So, you know, when I go to work and I'm working with LGB and they out me, I'm like, why you even tell my business? Now somebody's going to tell me, like it's happened to me before, you can't use the men's room. Why the hell? I've been going in here for 6 months to a year. Now all of a sudden after a year, I got to hold my bladder and walk 5 miles out the way to go pee. You got the wrong one. Because somebody has complained. Someone has complained. These are the kind of things that we deal with. We deal with bathroom refusal. I call it refusal. We deal with, it's just messy. It's just messy. It's just messy. I know a trans woman, she had paved the way in one of the biggest companies here in North Carolina many years ago. She did this in 92. One of the most white woman that transitioned, white trans woman, walked on the job. She was an engineer. She began to transition on a job. They did not want her working with the guys. They were putting her in this little cubicle that had to be by herself. Cubicle. And she fought that. They told her she couldn't use the women's room. Looking at her every day, and I was an officer working at the job. I didn't know she was trans until she came up to me and said, how is your transition? And I looked at her and I said, who are you? What are you talking about? She says, you don't know me. And we started laughing and giggling. And she said, I know you. And she told me how she knew me. I was like, I gagged. I was like, oh my God. I apologize. She wanted to make sure I was okay on the job, that I was not being harassed or going through any trouble at all. And told me, if you have a problem here on the job, you let me know, because you won't have no problem. I'm just saying, that's what she told me. And believe it or not, I didn't have a problem. So I'm just saying, some of you have to understand that, you know, we go to work because we have to go to work. You know, if you told me that you could pay me $2,000 a month not to go to work and just do what I need to do, go to school and be successful at whatever I wanted to be, then I would damn well do it. Because it's stressful to go to a job every day and make sure that everything I'm doing is on point, so I'm not detected as being trans, or I don't look too trans, or as a trans man, I don't look too gay, or I don't look too feminine. I mean, we check ourselves too. And the girls, you know, the ladies, the trans women, they check themselves every day. They have to wake up every day, make sure that, like any woman in this world, they wake up like any woman in this world to make sure that they are on point with their hair, their makeup, their dress, wardrobe, everything. Like any woman in this world. So here's my thing. Why do we have to deal with being outed by our own community, cisgendered LGBT community? Why? What are y'all afraid of? We don't want your job. We need a job. Whatever. Like I said, if you told me how to shovel shit every day, I'll be at work every day, an hour early shoveling some shit. I might just wash the floor extra just to make it smell like pine sol. I'm not trying to be funny, but I'm just saying. It'll be an extra chore done just to make it look good. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. So, anyone who wants to volunteer, come here and speak here on our Realness and Reality Facebook Live hour. about discrimination on the workplace, differences and struggles faced by the LGBTQIA and etc. and cisgender employee. I know you want to speak about it, Emmanuel. Please send me a request. Miss B, I can't get you on. I don't know what's going on. You might have to turn off your phone and turn it back on. I have no idea what's going on here. I can't even send you a request. But anyone else that wants to speak, Emmanuel, I think that's how you pronounce your name. If you want to come on and speak, please send me a request and see what we can do. There we go. Let's see if we can get you on.
Hey,
hello, darling.
how you doing?
I'm doing fabulous with your beautiful self.
Oh, thank you, handsome.
You want a cookie?
Of course. Well, I've experienced this like plenty of times. Of like, are you speaking in general, just discrimination on a job from anybody or from just like our own community, like as an LGB, or you speaking of like?
Let's go with anybody.
Okay, so I've had
from anybody from on the job site or employment or trying to seek employment. Like what's her name was talking about how college was discriminating against her. These situations we have to deal with to be successful.
Right. Wow. So one of my first jobs I was discriminated against, and if I'd have knew that I could like seek legal assistance in other places, I would have did that. But I used to work I was living in a small country town, and I used to work at this Subway, and it was this girl that knew me ever since I was a child, you know, and I hadn't had my name changed, but the lady, the owner of the store, was an Indian lady. So she thought that she still thought that I was a woman. I was genetic. I'll say that. She still thought I was genetic, even though my name was a male name. And it took for this girl to come out and tell her, no, you keep taking up for that man. That's a man and stuff like that. And she was like, no, it's not. She's like, well, how you don't know that's the man, and because of his name, and you know, like that.
Right.
And she was like, really? So she went back and she looked at my information. And so when she looked at my information, guess what ended up happening? She fired me.
You lost your job.
She fired me. And to this day, like I said, if I knew that I could seek help in another state, I would have. You know what I'm saying? But I didn't know that. So then, okay, later years ago, later years after, but this is years ago to me today, I worked at this salon, and I had to tell the owner, again, at that time my name wasn't changed, I had to tell the owner, you know, my gender. And because of, you know, he was questioning because of the name when I showed him my license. And so he was like, oh, so, and I said, yeah. So he was like, well, I have to discuss this with my team. So I'm like, okay. Right. Now they're discussing this. He's telling the whole staff what I am or who I am. And without me being in a meeting, they're all talking about me, which is not right.
Right.
So they all back talking about me. Didn't even invite me to the meeting or nothing. So after he did that, he told all of them, you know, about me. After that, they started telling the clients, and, you know, they was like, well, that's what he say it is. And that don't look like no man. Where the dick at? And stuff like that. And I'm like, wow. One of the guys, it was a girl, she told this man, she said, well, The man told her, he said, well, I don't give a damn if she is from planet Mars. She do good hair. She's an amazing stylist. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not, you know what I'm saying? I'm not going to judge her because of that, you know. And it was just it was a bad experience. I wound up leaving, you know, instead of, you know, having to blow up the place. And I don't want to, you know, draw attention to your life by saying that. But instead of me doing something crazy like that, I just left. I walked away. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't think it was worth, you know, me going to jail for doing something really crazy. Well, my cousin is on here too. But yeah, I done had some experiences. I mean, they just go on and on and on. It's so many. If I was to tell you all of them, I'd be on your live all day, and I'm sure you don't want that.
So let me ask you a question. With all that going on, did it cause you to feel? Did it oppress you or depress you, or
oh yes,
did it?
Oh my God, to this day, it really
What were some of the? What were some of the? What were some of the repercussions behind all the mess that you had to go through behind that?
It made me feel like I didn't want to work for nobody else. So like, you know, it made me not want to deal with people in the workplace and things like that because of that fear of having to deal with such bull. Like that was really some bull. Like it was very uncomfortable, and I was tortured by that for months. You know what I'm saying? After every instance, I was tortured by that in my mind. You know, I was depressed about that for months on end. You know what I'm saying? So it did something to me, you know, mindfully, spiritually. I couldn't keep my head on straight. You know, just a lot of things had happened, you know what I'm saying? And that was just internally because of what happened outwardly, which was not a good situation, you know. And I just had to fight with myself to tell myself, look, I mean, these are people, you know, you determine your end. Don't let nobody else determine your life for you. When you run instead of fight, then you have let them win. You know, it was the way I could have fought. I could have fought, but I just didn't know the way to go about it, you know.
Right. And the thing is, now we have avenues that are there for us, but I'm quite sure this happened many, many years ago, like my issue. And we didn't have those avenues. We didn't have attorneys that would even know how to represent us. They really didn't.
Right, right.
And I mean, like I said earlier, my issue, thank God I'm a strong person and I'm strong-willed, because if I wasn't, I'd probably be dead today, because at one time I thought of suicide over an employee, because my concern is my bills. Right. How am I going to live? How am I going to do what I need to do?
Right. Yeah. And that's what it is, you know. And I was thinking about that, you know, a lot of girls, there are some girls that may choose escorting as a means of income, but I'm gonna tell you this: a lot of girls that turn to escorting is because of dealing with bullshit like that. Those type of things will run a trans person away from trying to find work because of the judgment. You know, and it's not, first of all, it's not easy to find a job as a trans person, especially an openly trans person. It's not easy to find a job. But for things like that to happen, you know, that would run a trans person away. That would make somebody not want to go on nobody's job and apply for nobody's job, sit in front of nobody and do no kind of interview because of the bashing and, you know, the pain that has been put there, the scars that have been, you know, created through those kind of experiences. You know, it's
right.
People don't realize how much, you know, they affect, you know, us. And it's like they're a part of our downfall. Like that's a part of trans people's downfall because of people that feel like they can't mind their own business. You know, it's all in them being nosy. You know what I'm saying? Because they can't mind their own business. You know, gay people or Gay people have outed me because they wanted to take the concentration off of them. Or they wanted to give people the wow factor, as if to say, oh my gosh, she's this. Oh really? I couldn't tell.
Right.
You know, then they gonna start asking me all these questions, and I'm gonna wonder, you know what I'm saying, who told them, because of people not having nothing else to do and trying to take the concentration off of themselves, which is horrible. You know.
Right. And that's the thing, is that, you know, and you're right. Well, I think that's the problem. We all been saying that. I've heard that in the past 5 months, that every time we're outed by someone with under the umbrella, the rainbow umbrella, that's LGB, not the QIA and the rest of them, because our QIA and all the rest of them are struggling just like you and I are.
Right.
But the LGB, that's very cisgendered appearance, very cisgendered and very mainstream appearance by face value, they can hide what they do. Sexually, people don't need to know your business if you don't tell them.
Right.
But, you know, it's amazing how we're outed as if they're threatened by our status of who we are and where we're going.
Right.
As if we're going to take something from them.
Right. I don't know. I guess that's what it is. You know, it is. They do think that we're going to take something from them. They don't want us to get ahead. Like, you know, I've had like instances with gay men, you know, comparing me to them, saying that I was the same thing as them, that I just have breasts and, you know, I just look like a woman. I'm still a gay man just like them. You know what I'm saying? I've had that a lot. I've had that happen a lot. And
but could that be because some of our trans women and trans men have yet to confirm the idea that this is not about genitals, who we are as individuals?
Right.
Then talk about our genitals in their presence, because if we stop talking about our genitals and talk about us as the gender as we authentically are living and who we are, people tend to see that gender more than they see the idea of the genitals.
Of course.
Just like you said, your employer, the woman that, you know, hired you, she was hiring you based on what she saw at face value was a woman.
Right.
She saw a gendered woman. And then you have someone else sitting there going, well, no, that's a man. Well, you're talking about my genitals if that's what you're doing. You're outing me based on genitals.
Not
even my own,
according to appearance or spirit. Because,
right. Because if you ever notice that some trans women who've already had their surgery, their sexual reassignment surgeries, that a lot of people will identify her as a woman because now she has a vagina.
Right.
Really?
Yeah. They just,
you know?
I don't know. Some girls don't feel like, you know, you're a woman until you have that surgery. You know, but after they done worked hard, you know, they a woman until they have the, you know what I'm saying? They displaying to, some girls do that. They display to the world, I'm a woman and I'm nothing else. And you're not going to disrespect me and not call me a woman just because I don't have a vagina. But once they get a vagina, then every girl without a vagina is a man to them. You know, I see that happen a lot.
And that's sad because, like the trans men, we will say, if I want top-bottom surgery, that is of my choice. Right. If I do or don't, that's of my choice. It doesn't make me more man or less man than who I am.
Right.
I am the man I am based on how I created, how this man evolved. It's not creating the man. I evolved to be that man.
Right.
So I believe that, you know, we need to stop allowing genitals just messes up the whole plan.
Right.
You know, it messes up who we are as people.
But you know what, Flex? If I think every trans person, if we had the funds and if the funds were available to all of us, we would have those surgeries. Those things would be done. You know what I'm saying? Just as opposed to somebody that, you know, some people is a choice. They don't want to have those surgeries or they don't want to go through with those surgeries. But me, I am pre-op, and I'm not pre-op by choice. You know, is the financial situation. is because of the fact not being able to find or stay stable on the job because of discrimination and people trying to out me and things like that. You know, I'm like, you know, I'm sure you're live on your page right now. Hello. Yeah. So, you know, like right now I'm selling my business like a lot of people on my page don't know.
You might find a husband. I don't know.
Even some of my distant family, you know, don't know. You know what I'm saying? So now I'm really telling my business. It doesn't bother me because I love myself. And if you don't love me, whoever it is, if you don't love me, you know what I'm saying? It don't make no difference. You know, I'm gonna love me. And that's it. You know,
true.
whoever don't like it, I'm sorry.
It's true.
God damn, like.
I mean, that's just like it's just like I have a family member that was just on here, and I wanted to bring him on because I think he's a supervisor on his job. And I just want to ask him some questions regarding how would he handle a situation with discrimination like that of a like this topic on the job regarding discrimination or struggles that we face. And I'm trying to get him to see if he'll come online and have conversation about that because he is a cisgendered black male. Mm-hmm. And he is my family member, and my family member loves me for me.
Right.
My family loves me for me. And that is, like I tell everybody, I'm lucky to have the family I have on my father's side. You know, I was raised with them more than my mother's side. And my father's side of the family has always loved me and respected me for who I am and knew me for who I am. And when, I'm just going to say this, when times are hard, family would pull me in and say, well, here's a job if it's 3 weeks or whatever. I had family there for a lot of times. So, you know, it's different for me because I'm now in North Carolina and I'm from New Jersey.
Right.
And when I moved to North Carolina, it was different because my mother's family were loving people, but to allow me to be in their circle, I was pushed aside.
Wow.
So when I needed something and when I was going through job discrimination and a lot of crap that was going on, all I could do was say, can I come eat dinner? Mm-hmm. And I could always eat at the shelter. You know, so it was hard for me when I moved to North Carolina. Family shunned me. So I didn't have the support I wanted with family the way I desired. And they didn't understand that, you know, this struggling individual that cannot hold their own weight, it's not because I didn't want to, it's because the way of my transition didn't allow it to happen.
Right.
Because before my transition, y'all that know me now, this mover and shaker is always going to be a mover and shaker, but before my transition, I could do anything and everything and get things accomplished. I'm the best hustler in town. I'm just going to tell you that now.
Right.
And when I began to transition, my own siblings said, this is sad because you don't do without ever. He said, you've never done without. I can't understand this. And I said, people very much are discrimination. Discrimination is real towards who I am today.
Of course.
And he feels my pain, but he says, there's nothing I can do. I was like, no, you can't. But, you know, we just have to keep speaking up and being heard and allow ourselves to be heard. And if you can be visible, whatever avenue you can, to be heard with hopes that what we face now can slowly evolve and dissolve and no longer be such a stigma issue for us as people, because we all have to get up every day, go to a job and pay our bills.
That's true.
And to refuse somebody the right to live their life and be comfortable, even if it's non-comfortable, but to live their life as they're supposed to as a human being in society paying bills.
Right.
So I appreciate you for coming on. I thank you. And you know what? You have probably opened the doors for somebody that's going to watch this live later and have probably allowed people to see things differently in a different way as well.
Right.
And I know your family after this, you might get you a cake in the mail.
Huh?
I don't know.
That would be
You
nice,
might get
Flex.
something.
That would be really nice if
But
they did that for me, but you know.
it's okay, but it may change the way they see things now.
Right.
The little things we do may help assist with change.
Right.
I know that this past month I went to a family gathering, and my family finally said, my mother's family finally said, well, what name do we call you? And I said, this name I've been trying to tell you for 40 years. Okay, we got it. Oh, now you got it. I was like, but it's okay. I was like, as long as you got it before I'm in the grave, I'm good. So I just want to say thank you, and I appreciate you, and please keep going forward and share your stories with those that need to hear it.
Of course.
I thank you. We love you.
I love you too, Flex.
All right.
All right.
Miss J, let's try this again. Because you know I'm almost done with my peanut butter sandwiches, cookies. Okay, let's see. We got a lot of people that want to come on. Oh, look at that. Oh, look at that. Let's see what we got. You know, Miss J, if you can't come on, I'm grabbing somebody else. Something bit me. A mosquito did it. Mosquito. Hey, girl. You are here, ladies and gentlemen. This is our co-host. She's here.
Yes, we
How
were
are
having
you?
technical difficulties. I'm on the tablet. I don't know why it won't let me do it from the phone. And I'm sorry when you called me earlier. My phone was in my purse. I didn't hear it because I was at the doctor, and then I came in, and after I do this with you, I got to run out to the grocery store for my cookout for Saturday.
All right. So this is discrimination, employment discrimination, differences and struggles faced by the LGBTQIA and cisgendered employee. Now, let me explain something to everybody so they understand this. Now, please share this, because it's going to get deep now, because Miss J is here. Miss J is a cisgender woman married 30 years to her husband. They make me jealous. I just hate them sometimes.
I'm so sorry.
But she is very much of a great comrade. I will never call her an ally. Comrade to our community in her area. She is very much a supporter and open-minded Christian woman, and she knows love is love. That's what she knows. So
I'm trying to share because I shared.
I'm gonna let you share.
Yeah, I was tagging and sharing earlier while you guys were talking.
Okay.
So I was still trying to share.
So I want you all to share, because this woman, to have her here as a co-host, is an awesome, awesome thing. And she'll say hi to everybody while she's on live, which doesn't make sense to me, but I'm gonna let her go ahead and do her thing.
That's rude.
I know. That's why I got my lap. That's why the laptop is at, and I just type it to him.
Okay. I'm gonna say this. I feel as though.
So I'm ready.
I feel as though if you're qualified for the job, you should get the position, regardless of what your gender is, how you live your life, who you live your life as. That's just me. But everybody doesn't think like me. We don't live in that type of world. You know, I think that it's very unfair, because now we have this law that they don't have to hire you, or they can fire you because of, in certain states, because it doesn't fit their religious beliefs. Certain states, not all states.
Right.
And I think that's a crock of bullshit. That's just my opinion. But once again, everybody doesn't think like me.
No, they don't.
What I'm saying? And my thing is, with it on that, that's another form of discrimination. Because you could say, oh, my religious beliefs, we don't believe in the color blue. you wear too much blue. I have to let you go.
Right.
It's always,
Right.
see, the thing is, the things like that, those type of laws, it's always a loophole, and people take advantage of those loopholes. I'm gonna be teaching a class on everybody working together. You know I'm not big on labels. I'm not with this cisgender transgender bullshit. I'm talking about far as the labels go, because if you're a
Right. I know.
woman,
I know. You don't. You don't.
yeah, I don't say, well, this is my transgender girlfriend or this is my transgender brother. I don't.
Right.
You don't have to label. I don't like labels. But I'm
Right.
really gonna be doing a workshop, a class on cisgender and transgender, the he, she, the him, her, like the pronouns, um,
Right.
to make it easier, which it should be an easy work environment. My only thing that I have the issue with is sometimes we misgender people, and it's just of our own ignorance. It's not done on purpose.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I always go back to the Saturday Night Live show. And I remember a long time ago, y'all remember the character Pat. They didn't know if Pat was a male or a female. So they
Right.
just said Pat. They would always try to find out, but Pat always worked around it, you know. And my thing is, there's so much shit going on. Why are you so concerned who's transgender or who's gay? It's so much other things to be concerned yourself about. Why aren't you concerning yourself about all the stuff that's going on with Trump? Why aren't you worrying yourself about, let's think about doing something to combat homelessness, you know, or making sure people have food or our children have a good education? Why are you so concerned about if this is a transgender man or this is a transgender woman? Why are you so concerned about what's going on in the next bathroom stall? You know, I don't, I don't, I don't get stuff like that. I feel as though if me myself personally, if I had my own business, 9 times out of 10, everybody that would be working for me would be within the LGBTQ community,
Mhm.
because
Mhm.
I always said, if I ever became rich and famous, or at that point whereas I can have my own people working for me, I will hire my own people. That's it. I will
Mhm.
hire my own people being my own African American people that are qualified, and my people that are in the LGBTQ community, whatever color or however you identify is qualified. Because guess what? Those are the people that get it the hardest.
And you said that if I was a Walmart owner, I was the owner of Walmart, I'd have me a mall in every big state, every big metro state. I'd have me a mall where everybody in the mall was an LGBTQIA business owner.
Mhm. Mhm.
I would. I
And I'm gonna
would.
be
I
honest with
really
you.
would.
I tell everybody. I mean, I know we're all afraid of things that we don't know. So we're all afraid of the unknown. But in the process of us
Right.
being afraid of the unknown, why don't you educate yourself and say, well, Jaquetta, could you explain this to me? Or you see someone that's a little different from you. You can approach them. You can be
Right.
like, can I ask you a question? I'm not trying to be offensive. You know, I want to ask because I'm trying to understand.
Mhm.
And you take it from there. You know, and another thing is approaching anyone. You have to be very careful of your wording because you don't want to be offensive. And some people, when you do approach them, they come off a little standoffish or shady because they have this wall because someone's always trying to attack them just because you're different. And to be honest with you, Just because you are a transgender man or a transgender woman doesn't make you different. You're living in
Right.
your truth. You know, you live in, this is who you are. This isn't a game. This isn't an item. You know, this is who people is. And people need to
Right.
respect that. You know, some
But you
people
know,
really need to.
it's hard for people to respect something that they don't know.
That's what I just said.
When people,
We're all afraid of the unknown.
yeah. And the thing is that is, and it goes back, and we're gonna take it back a few steps. What people fear, they act out in the most jacked up ways to, like you said, to protect themselves, their own mindset, their own circle, to allow you to stay away. I think when people out the trans community in a job, it's more or less to say, okay,
Why should I
I'm
out you
cool.
on your job? That's so stupid. Why should I? And I don't understand. I'm gonna put it to you like this. In my day, in my younger days, that's why I always tell these younger people, these older people, y'all need to be respecting them and thanking them because they're the ones that fought and paved the way for you all. Because when I was like 17, 18, 19, 20, I never saw a transgender person working at Walmart or at the supermarket or Target, anything like that. My friends were into sex work, male and female. Okay, so who all AIDS didn't take out that are still here from that era? You need to respect them because they fought for you. And these younger kids don't get that. Their whole thing is, I want to pass. I want to be this. I want to be that. Everybody getting these EBT pussies and dicks and titties and stuff, but they fought for that. I'm gonna keep it 100 because these new titty bitches don't get it. They don't get it, and I don't care if you feel like I'm shading you. Too bad, too sad. Oh well, get over it. Okay, because
Well,
they don't get it.
Let's go back to when I talked to her not too long ago. You know, remember Mimi? We have Mimi that went to trucking school, and she had a hard time. And those kids there that were LGB, they was really trying to out her, making strong will. Thanks she had tough skin.
Oh wait, I'm gonna take it. Wait, because you're going. Something's going on with your computer.
My computer, I'm on my phone.
Well, something's going on with your phone because it's cubing up, and you sound like a robot.
Really? Well, I'm on my phone.
I don't know. As soon as you moved, it started acting up.
Is this better?
Yeah, it's better.
I don't know what the problem is. I couldn't tell you. But I mean, it's like her situation. What?
I'm gonna tell you this. I can't remember her name. A black transgender woman. Early 80s was a fashion model. I cannot remember her name. She was on.
I know who you're talking about. I can't remember her name either, but I know exactly.
Boxes. She was in Essence magazine. She was in Jet. She's from North. She was from in all these magazines.
Yeah.
Another model. They were using her for a spread. Another model spilled her tea. She's still living, but that ended her modeling career. They took all her endorsements from her. And my thing is this.
I remember that.
Let me tell you something. Like you said, you don't never know what's going to bring somebody to the brink of them committing suicide. You don't never know how somebody's getting their next meal or anything. If it's not affecting you directly or no one's getting hurt or anything like that, that's not your place to say anything. You
You're
know,
right.
I'm not into this outing people on their job or at school because it's so many ignorant, stupid people. You never know how they might try to hurt this person, kill this person, anything. You never know how
Right.
somebody may react. What is the point of you outing someone? I don't, I don't, I don't get that one.
I don't, I think some people think that it allows them to feel powerful and it makes them feel like they're benefiting from doing what they're doing. In reality, you're not, because I'm gonna be honest with
Yeah,
you. When you when you out someone on your job, that makes you look just as untrustworthy.
it does.
Because now your employer is looking at you as if to say, okay, all this disclosure stuff that you're not supposed to tell on your job, maybe you're the one telling information that we've been trying to figure out who's telling the information to. An employer begins not to trust you as well.
People don't get that. They don't get that.
They don't.
Their whole thing
It
is,
reflects, it reflects back
oh,
on people.
oh, I said this, so since I said this, this is what's going to work out in my way. No, not necessarily. It may backfire. So when it backfires, what are you going to do? And then you never know
Right,
how the person you outed may or may not react. They might react to
right,
you in a negative way.
right.
So you have to be careful. You have to be careful. Like I said, what is the point of outing someone? I don't understand. Why should I out you? And why should you care whether or not I'm transgender? Let me tell you something. Everybody that's gay or everybody that's in the LGBTQ community, straight folks, they don't want you. They're not trying to convert you, straight folks. They're trying to live their life like you trying to live your life. They're trying to go to
Yep.
work and provide for their families, just like you're trying to provide for your families. And in 2018, it's still a big thing about people being gay, people being transgender. Why should it matter? As long as you're doing your job and minding your neck, what is the problem?
Mm-hmm.
I need somebody to, help me to understand that. And like I tell everybody, and I'm gonna say this, and I'm not saying it to be nasty. Change your name legally if you can. Change your birth certificate. Change your identification. Change the marker on your identification. Because guess what? If you're living your life as La 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 Rue and you go to the doctor and they say Larry LaRue, you feel some kind of way. You looking like La, but your name is still Larry. If you
Mm-hmm.
want to do it,
But you have,
do it all the way.
but
So many places to
but
do
let,
it.
let me say this. But let me say this, okay? Let me say this, and this is respectfully saying this. There are organizations that are now helping with getting the name changed, but
Exactly.
also it is a cost for some areas. Now, some areas may not have that. There might be somebody in Idaho that may not have any assistance at all, or any connect to the trans, or any assistance with LGBTQIA organization. So this individual is going to have
One
to
thing they
work
gotta
with.
do, wait a minute, before you even go there. If you in these little hick towns, you Google the major city in that closest to you in that area. Okay? That's like you Google the major city closest to you in that area, because guess what? That's who's gonna do it. And usually do it for free. That's all you have to do. Like if you
Wait a
in
minute, who does it for free? Who does it for free?
all over New York.
That's New York, but if this is what I'm saying,
I,
but this is what I'm
that's
saying.
what I'm saying. I said, just say if you in a small hick town, just say you in butt country New York, all the way upstate, where you know where they're not doing it for free, or it's nowhere that they're not doing it at all, and they're giving you a hard time. Google the closest city to you, the closest big city to you. It may be Manhattan. It may be Queens. Get that information. Those people will help you. You have to try the big city that's closest to you. The
I
thing
know, but what
is,
I'm saying to you, wait, Jay, let me say this. I understand what you're saying. You're in that area, but I know people that are in Minnesota, people that are in Ohio. They don't have these
you're not
access,
listening to
so they have.
me. You're not understanding what I'm saying. You could be in Minnesota. You can be in Ohio in them little towns. The big city in Ohio and in Minnesota, they're doing it because a lot of the lawyers are taking the cases pro bono because they have to have a certain amount of they have to invest a certain amount of hours back into things. So they take these cases
Okay,
and do it pro bono. Get in contact with legal aid. Legal aid can help you.
right.
You know, like New York and New Jersey
But see,
is
here's
not the
another.
only place
Here's
that you can get
here's
hormones.
here. But see, let me say this. But there's another thing with that. The stigmatization. A lot of people that are in our community that are also trans. A lot of them aren't comfortable extending themselves outside of their own
Hey,
circle.
Eric. Hey,
That's a
Auntie
problem we
Kim.
have as well. Hey, Miss Kim. So I mean, it's a lot more involved. But yes, you're right. If you're going to transition, you need to start pursuing change of name. You need to work on that part as I did. I know I did. Before I started taking my medicines, that's the first thing I did. Because I knew by face value, when I started evolving, they weren't going to be looking at Lucy. They're going to be looking at
I'm gonna put
Flint.
it on the I. I'm gonna put it on me. I'm gonna put it on the I. My niece is now my nephew. Okay? I'm putting it on the I. I'm putting my business out there because I'm not ashamed. And I'm not ashamed of him. I will walk in any pride at any given day, walk down the street and dare motherfucker to say something. Okay? My niece is now my nephew. My nephew is working, he's in college. He's working on changing his name. He's in he goes to college damn near in rural Georgia. Okay? So he guess what? He has to go into Atlanta to get assistance. That's what I'm saying. He gets testosterone. The doctor was not sure. The doctor had no knowledge of anything transgender. My nephew had to inform him of everything. You understand what I'm saying?
Well, that's something that let me say that's something that happened here in North Carolina, and I was one of the 5 that educated several doctors on top surgery, several doctors on I needed surgery, and some of us were traveling, and it got to a point where we found doctors that were going to do several doctors who started doing this top surgery because we reached out and said, do you do breast augmentation? This is what I need. I mean, I'll give you a prime example. My surgeon, who is a black surgeon, I'm going to put it out there, Dr. Gerald Truesdale in Greensboro, North Carolina, has been doing all kinds of plastic reconstructive surgery for more than 30 years. And when I went to him, I said I wanted a specific doctor. And I found out that his cost was the same as anyone else, and his work was very good. And I'm very pleased with what I've gotten from him. And believe it or not, many of our trans folk are now going to him versus because he's closer to them. So it's reaching it. I think I'll say this to anybody, you've got to do your own research. I know it's
You
tiresome
do. You
in our own
do.
community, but because you have to understand that employment, when it comes into employment, they're looking at what they see. People go by face value. They don't go by what you say. I'm just going to say that's going to always be that way. It was that way my grandmother was living, my great grandmother was living, my forefathers. People went by what they saw. If they said it was a dog, they saw a dog. If they see that it was a cat and that's supposed to be a cat, it's a cat. People are going by face value. And only right now, during these years to come, we are now extending the knowledge that gender and sexuality are very fluent. You can't go by what you see, but you have to remember so many people have been conditioned in mainstream society to believe what they believe. And you know this, Miss J, you even have people, including my family in the South, that is so involved with biblical
We're
information
not even gonna
that
go
they
there.
believe.
We're not even gonna talk about the
We're
Bible.
not going to go there.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go there because you're different. But I'm just saying there are people living here that actually believe what they've been taught in church, and that is, I mean, and I'm gonna. It's not you. It's not you.
I'm not saying it's
It's
me.
not you.
I'm not saying it's me because I know you're not directing it towards me. I know that. But this is the thing, my thing with the Bible. I'm gonna just use this for example. Just say if this was the Bible. Don't hide behind the Bible. That's what I'm saying. Don't hide behind the Bible. Okay? Because if that's the case, I want you to think about some things. God says to come to him and he accepts you as who you are. God knew that you were going to be gay. God knew you were going to be transgender. God knew whatever it was you were going to do, because guess what? Before you were born, the book of your life was already written.
Yeah, your destiny is already established.
Okay? So when people tell me being gay is abomination, and don't let it be a fat person, because I turn around and I be like, well, you know, gluttony is too. Okay? Gluttony is an abomination. Gluttony is a sin. Don't talk to me about sins and abominations, because I got something for everything you have to say. You know?
Right.
And I
Right.
don't
But I'm
think
just saying.
just because you're gay, you're going to hell. Okay? What about I was like, what about murders and rapists? Oh, but they repent. And I said, gay folks repent too. But they don't have to repent for being gay. You don't repent for being who you are. If I stole this out the store, I'd be like, oh God, and I'll repent. Oh, please God, please forgive me. I knew I shouldn't have took that. You know what I'm saying? But people use the Bible, and they use what the Bible is about and what's in the Bible to their advantage. They take it and they twist it, and they conform it to fit into their lifestyles instead of conforming it into what's really going on.
You're
When they
right.
got
I'm not
God,
arguing with you, but I agree with you. People do that, but you have to understand that there are a lot of people, like you said, they hide behind it, and that's their. Well, did we do? That's their way. Did I lose her? Well, I lost her. She'll come back, folks. We're getting deep now. So please share, please share, please share, please share, please share, please share, please share. Remember, this topic is discrimination, differences, and struggles faced by the LGBTQIA community and the cisgender community. Okay, we're gonna bring her back on. We lost her. I think she got so wrapped up, her phone just decided to do what it wanted to do. She should be back. But these are just some of the things that we're discussing behind that. And, you know, it's just some things that we deal with. But I hope she comes back. I think we're going to have technical difficulties. Okay, we're having some technical difficulties. I don't think we're going to get her back. So if there's anyone else that wants to come in, if we can get her back or not, feel free to wave at me. Let me know you want to come back through. You want to get into this topic of discussion. I was hoping to have someone come on that is an employer. So if you want to come on, Phil, please send a request. If not, I hope we can get Ms. Bowman back. If not, we will end this live and just give you all some food of thought, but I hope that we can get some of you back on here as requested to discuss this. do a show on Tuesdays at 9:30 p.m. That show is on Blog Talk Radio. You can find us at 1-646-668-8561 on Tuesday nights at 9:30, and that's a Hot Topic Tuesdays. We talk about topics that others dare not want to speak about. And on Wednesdays, we do Sex Tea Talk 101. That's adult hour. We talk about intimacy, love, relationships, and all the stuff down the line. Last night, they were talking about sex, as always. And on Thursdays, right here at 6 o'clock, we start at 6:30. We do a live here on Facebook so that you all get to know the faces and the individuals that are usually on our live blog. It looks like we're not going to be able to get Miss J online. So for those of you that may want to come in and interact a little bit more with us and discuss with us, or just want to share your experiences, please feel free to send a request to us right now. And if you're not able to do so, and we can't get Miss J on, I believe we're going to close out the show. We've been here a little bit too long. It's time for me to feed my family and my public. So I'd like to say to all of you, wherever you go, however way you travel, please remember and be mindful that your life is important as well as others' lives are important. And consider yourself an asset to the survival of others. Remember that what you do to others will always come back to you. Should it be negative, it shall come back to you negative. Should it be positive, it shall be positive. Just remember, karma has control of what happens to you as you travel and live within the universe that evolves on a regular basis. Evolution is a thing, and we all need to learn to accept evolution. You might be able to change right away, but as evolution is changing, you will change, and that's what over time. I want to say to you all, I love you. Thank you for being on the live this night. We hope to hear from you on Tuesday during Blog Talk Radio, Tuesday and tonight, and hope to have you back here next Thursday on our Facebook Live. Good night, everybody.